Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chem 100 Fall 2021. This is just going to be a short video where I take you through the course, kind of go through Blackboard, go through the syllabus, let you know some of the important things that are going to be happening throughout the semester. I'm excited about this semester. I'm glad we get to see each other in person again on Wednesdays for lab. We'll still be having to do a lot of the class this way, but I'm excited at least we get to see each other a little bit. So behind me, you see our Blackboard course, and hopefully you've had a chance to kind of poke around in there a little bit. I know I've seen some of you signing up for the Discord and all of that, so that's good. Um, the way it's laid out should be pretty familiar if you've done this before. If you haven't done this before, I'll show you. You've got the announcements right here, which should also be coming through to your email. If you are getting a lot of just random Blackboard announcements on email, like every time something new pops up, you get a whole bunch of emails. You should be able to adjust those settings up here by your name. There's some settings that you can change there. If you go into My Blackboard, you can see those, and I or Student Tech Support can help you with those also. So the tabs over here on the left, we've got our syllabus and schedule and objectives, Discord registration. We'll go through that stuff in a second. Then if you want to know about me and my availability, all right, so this is me. I'm Joe. I'll be your instructor. I've been at Harper for, I think this is my 13th year now. So I've taught this class many times. I've done it several times in this format now. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable with it. I do have an office phone number, but don't call it because I'm obviously not in my office much except for Wednesdays. I'm not going to get those messages really. So the best way to reach me is probably on Discord. If you've signed up, you can put in a question right in the general chat so that everybody can see it, or you can DM me. You can message me directly. So if you have a question that you don't want everybody else to be looking at, that is nice because it comes right to my phone. It just pops up. It doesn't mean I can respond right away, but I'll definitely get back to you as soon as I can. The other thing you can do is, of course, email me. Here's my email address. If you put Chem 100 in the email subject line, then I set up a thing that it should mark it as high importance if that's in the subject line. So hopefully that will get it through the spam filter, and that. In general, I always want to be able to respond to you within a day. If I don't respond to you with whatever you're asking within a day, message me again, and do it again and do it again. Sometimes, I get a whole bunch of stuff, especially with the online format. I get just tons of emails and messages, and sometimes I just, miss one, or I think I responded to something and I didn't, or whatever. The important thing is you're not bothering me by messaging me more. If I'm not responding to you, just keep sending, and you can say, hey, I'm respond to me. Why are you ignoring me? What's going on? I'm not trying to. I want to respond to you, but sometimes I do miss stuff. So just go ahead and keep sending it. I'm not going to get mad at you. I'm not going to get annoyed. Just keep sending me stuff. All right. If you want to meet with me, not so much in person, but on the internet, you can book times for my office hours. There's a nice little app here, and you can just pick a day, like let's say this Thursday, and a time. And if you do that, just put in your name. You don't have to do all the others, just put in your name. And then just say book, and then I'll get it right on my calendar, and I'll know to meet you right at that time. If this is a little hard to use on the way my computer is set up, you can also just go to this link and you'll see it on a much fuller page here. So you can set that up. Right now I have those, that we have to have certain times available. And so this is just what I picked. But if those times don't work for you because you've got class or you're working or whatever, you can always ask for different times, and I'm sure we can work something out. It doesn't have to be during these times. And if I find that like many of you are not available in the morning, I can change this entirely, and I can just set this up to be in the afternoon or the evening. So just let me know when you want to meet, if you want to meet with me. And we'll have some time in person also during lab. If you on Wednesdays, if it's your lab day, while we're waiting for an experiment or something, you can always talk to me then, or right after class, or right before class if we're there early. There aren't quite as many like absolute. I don't know. For those of you who were here last year, when we had the on-campus labs, it was like just go to the lab and then go home. You can't stay on campus for anything else. That's not the case anymore. So as long as we'll be wearing masks and we can go into a room and we can talk and stuff if you want. So you can find me on campus also on Wednesdays. All right. So the majority of your course is going to be in this learning modules section. And each week will be set up with a folder. If you've been to Harper before, you've probably seen this format. It's kind of the standard recommended format that I think most people are using. You'll always have an overview of the objectives, like what are you supposed to do in this particular module, then or what are you supposed to be able to learn from them. Then the activities, which are like things that you do but not necessarily turn in. And then the assignments, which are the things that are actually due and you have to turn them in. You have to actually do them. So then there will generally be two folders, plus the labs. The activities, which is like, watch this video, read this thing, stuff like that. And then the assignments, which is where you'll find all of the stuff to actually submit. So here you have our statement of understanding. So you will be filling this out and then sending it in here. So you attach your file and that's it. For most of the assignments, this is how it'll work. There will be some digital file. You'll download it. You'll fill in whatever you need to fill in, and then you'll upload it. But because labs are not necessarily computer friendly, you don't really want to have your devices out on the bench when you're doing chemistry because stuff could get spilled and stuff gets ruined. So we're going to be using paper and pencil for things as well. And when you're working out some homework problems or things like that, you may also want to do that with paper and pencil. So if that's the case, you can scan it using your phone and send it up there. The only thing I ask is please submit it in either PDF format or a Word document, doc or docx format. Blackboard can't read certain Mac files like .pages files. And if you upload the pictures, the images directly from your phone, rather than converting them to PDF first, Blackboard has a lot of trouble with that. And sometimes I can't see those images also. So PDF format, most scanner apps on phones allow you to do that. If you have an iPhone, I think it's built right into the camera app. For other phones, I'm not sure. I have an old Samsung phone and I use an app called Simple Scanner that does that. So that's how you'll be turning stuff in. All right, let's take a look at the syllabus and like what kinds of stuff you're going to be graded on and course policies and all that. All right, so here's our syllabus. Again, we'll have our labs on Wednesdays. And because of the distancing requirements, only half the class is coming each week. So check Blackboard to see which group you're in, Group A or Group B. Group A will start this week, Wednesday the 25th. Group B will not start until next week, September 1st, being on campus. And then both groups are on campus at the same time for exams. So that's new this semester because we were able to get some extra space so that we'll have 12 people in one room and 12 people in another room to do exams. Please don't get messed up by that. Put those on your calendar. They're on the schedule at the end of the syllabus here. So make sure that you don't get too used to alternating every week and then forget that you have to come in at the exam week, which may not be in that alternating schedule. Okay. All right. So we talked about communication. The textbook for this class is free. We put it together specifically for this class by taking other openly licensed textbooks and just kind of taking out the parts that we thought were a good fit for the objectives for this course. So you can access the text right here. You can print it out from there as well. If you want a more nicely printed copy, I can also export a PDF from that site that is like laid out like a book and everything. So if you want that, just let me know. The lab experiments are available on Blackboard, so you shouldn't need to buy anything for this class at all. You do need to have reliable internet, or at least internet. As you'll see, my internet is sometimes not so reliable also. But you will need to get internet. We won't have times where you need to be online, like with me, like Zoom classes or something. Everything will be optional. All the synchronous stuff will be optional. But you do need to be able to access Blackboard and all of that stuff. So if you have trouble with that, there is technology request form from Harper, and you can get pretty much whatever you need. You can get Chromebooks, you can get calculators, you can get internet hotspots. So if you are having trouble with that at home, that's all free to borrow from Harper. Please fill out that form and get that stuff. It is first come, first serve. So if other people have gotten it all, then I think what's going to happen is Harper will try to get more. But if you want to be sure to get one, just put in your request right away. All right, when we come to lab, you need to be dressed appropriate for lab. So when you come to lab on Wednesday, you need to make sure that you have shoes that cover the tops of your feet, because that's where stuff spills. So sandals are not allowed in lab. You also want to make sure, just think about, like, if you're standing at a counter and some chemical spilled forward, where would it be hitting you? And the most important parts to cover are the tops of your feet, the tops of your legs, your stomach area, and and of course your eyes. But we have goggles for you in lab. You don't have to bring your own goggles. So make sure you have shorts or pants that are skirts that are at least down to the knee, that you have closed-toed shoes, and that you have a shirt that covers all the way down to your waist, so that you can protect yourself from spills. We have safety goggles for you in lab. You can try them out on Wednesday. They're not super comfortable. They're kind of like hard plastics goggles, but they work. But if you want to buy your own more comfy ones that seal better, you're welcome to. Just make sure that they are chemical splash goggles and not safety glasses. They have to actually have a seal that goes all the way around your eyes, and indirect vents for air, so they can't have like holes in the sides, like shop goggles. So if you have a question about that, let me know. One thing that we found last year is the goggles plus the mask combination is really annoying, because, of course, the mask kind of goes right where your goggles go. And so as air kind of leaks out of your mask upward, it gets into your goggles and fogs it all up. So it is really annoying. If you want to bring some different masks on Wednesday so you can try them with the goggles and see which ones work better than others, you can. It's just a thing we're going to have to deal with, and it is what it is. All right, Blackboard and Office and all that stuff. You probably know all that by now. All right, so here's how the grades work. We will have 12 labs between the in-person labs and the online labs, and we'll drop one of those. So that's a big, big chunk of your grade. There will be pre-lab activities, stuff you have to do before you come into lab. There will be homework on Blackboard, just like that you'll kind of go through. It says it's a test or a quiz or something on Blackboard. It's just homework. We may have some in-class activities, discussions, and things like that. In the past year, we've had those when we've had on-campus classes. In the past year, there's just been so much work with the online stuff and the lab reports and whatever that I've not done those. So we'll see how that goes. And then we'll have a bunch of quizzes. We'll try to have quizzes as often as we can, and then drop a whole bunch of the lowest ones. So some of those quizzes will be on Blackboard, and some of them will be in person, and you'll take them in lab on lab days. We'll have 2 exams that will be in person on campus, and then we'll have a final exam at the end during the final exam week, which will be a all multiple choice standardized exam. All right. So that's the grades. So other things you should know. Those of you who have taken a class like this before know this, but if you haven't, coming to lab and watching videos is not enough time to learn the material. Generally, you expect 2 to 3 times the amount of work as the hours of the class. So if we are a 4-credit class, then you would expect to put in anywhere between 8 to 12 hours of studying, and then even more for some, maybe extra stuff for in-class time or whatever, or to catch up. So depending on your personal comfort level with the material and how much time it takes you, that's a range, of course, of time, but you're definitely going to be spending a considerable amount of time outside of the scheduled class time working on this class. And so I would encourage you, especially if you have other classes, to look at your schedule and really be honest with yourself. Do you have the time this semester to do the work to get this done? If you're working full time and you've got a family and you're taking other classes, you just may not have the hours. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad student or that there's anything wrong. It's just, it is what it is. It takes a certain amount of time to learn this material. And I want you to make sure that you have that time before you are, stuck paying for the class and all of that. So take a look at your schedule and try to confirm that you do indeed have the time it takes to get this class done. Okay, you can read more about all this stuff here. And of course, let me know if you have any questions. Generally, your week will look like, go back to Blackboard here. We can take a look at the first module. So generally, the week will start on Monday. At some point twice a week, I will stream live like this, but I'll let you know the times so that you can join in. You can ask questions to the chat or to Discord, and I'll answer them in real time for you. And then these videos will always be archived so you can watch them later if you can't make the live sessions, so forth. There's a survey linked from the announcements right now, so if you could please let me know what times work best for you if you would like to join in live. That way I can schedule things so that we can get the most people. All right, so you'd open up the week's module here. I'll try to stay out of the way a little bit more. And then for the week, you'll have some outcomes. So these are the things that you need to learn that you should be able to do by the end of the week. You'll have some sections to read in your textbook. You'll have some live classes. I scheduled these this week just because I didn't know times, but we will work on that and we'll change those times. So then you'll have your assignments that are due Sunday. That date is wrong. Obviously, Sunday was yesterday. I must have been looking at the wrong week on the calendar. So usually there will be a homework assignment, a module quiz, and maybe some sort of a like a worksheet handout that I'm going to go through with notes that you can turn in. Most of that stuff. So homework, you have, I think, 3 tries on the homework. It's not meant to be like, you don't have to get them all right. It's not a quiz. I want you to use that to learn. So I expect, the first time you go through the homework, you get maybe most of them wrong, a lot of them wrong, and then you kind of look some stuff up, think about it, go back, check them again, and kind of work through it like that. Then at the very end of the week, you should do the quiz. So that'll usually be like, it'll come up maybe on a Friday, and then it'll be due on Monday probably of the next week or something like that. So that I really want you to wait and do that quiz at the end after you've learned the stuff. Then you'll have some lab assignments. So if you're in group A, you're on campus this week, which means you have to complete the pre-lab. Now the pre-lab is should be very simple. It's just basically checking, did you read the instructions to the lab? Do you know what you're going to do? Being prepared for lab is a really important part of safety. So I want to make sure that you know what you're doing, that you've looked through the experiment, that you are aware of the safety hazards that might be present in that week's lab. And that's really all the pre-lab is. You have to get 100% on the pre-lab quiz before you come into lab. And you can take it as many times as you want, but you have to get every question right. There's usually only like 3 or 4 questions, but you have to get them all right before you come into lab. And that kind of shows me that you read the stuff and you have an idea of what's happening in lab this week. There will be, besides the normal activities and assignments folders, 2 laboratory folders. So if you're on campus, whoops, that section number is wrong. I have to fix that. Should be A and B. Then you'll have separate lab activities and assignments for that week. So we have, this week is about safety and observations. So you've got your pre-lab right here. Then there's the safety evaluation and the safety agreement and the actual lab that we're doing in person. And these are where you submit all of those things. So you can see here, observations, there's nothing here, or I'm sorry, this is where you would submit all your data. It's set up like a test. Some of the labs are set up like a test where you just answer the questions, and some of them say to upload the things that you wrote in class. Excuse me. But these are all set up like tests. And the reason for that is so that you can take your data in class, and then you can upload all the data to the computer, and we can check to make sure you got everything right. All right. So if you're in the other group, if you're in group B, you don't just get a week off. Sorry. You have a virtual lab to do. This week, the virtual lab is pretty simple. You're just kind of looking at some of the stuff that you're going to do later. So not a lot to do this week for the virtual labs. Other weeks, as you'll see on the schedule, will have more of like an actual thing that you have to do at home and submit stuff. So that's it. That's what your week will look like. You'll have some material to learn. You'll have some homework and quiz problems to test yourself on, and then you'll have laboratory work to do as well. As the material gets a little bit more complicated, you might find that you need to spend more and more time studying and practicing that material, as well as just doing the assignments. All right, so we'll finish with just looking at the schedule. At the very bottom here is our schedule for now. Now, this is definitely subject to change as, COVID rules and whatever happened. Last fall, we had a similar schedule, and we ended up getting pushed totally online for the last half of the semester or so. If we have positive COVID cases in class, then or even if it's not our class, the lab room might have to be closed for cleaning. So there's a couple like extra days set up here if we need to make up some labs, but we'll just have to be flexible and see how that works. One thing that I can definitely recommend is get your vaccines if you haven't already. You don't, besides the whole health, like protecting your health and protecting the people around you, if even just from a convenience standpoint of class, you don't want to be in a situation where, you get sick and you're out for a couple weeks, and then you're all of a sudden trying to catch up the last year or so, like it's been rough when people have missed a significant amount of class. It's been hard or impossible for them to catch up. And if you're vaccinated, you don't have to quarantine in the same way. So even if you do get exposed and get a positive test, you could still come to lab a couple days later because you're vaccinated. So you don't have to do the full 10-day or 2-week quarantine. So just, get that done if you haven't. Go to Walgreens, go to your doctor, there's a million places around. You can just go get it. It's free, and it will hopefully not only protect you and those around you from sickness, but also just help you be present for school. So each week you'll see like the topics that we're going to be dealing with here on the left, and then you'll have the labs. And so each lab, there's a white background that's the on-campus lab, and then a shaded background that's the virtual lab. So we'll just alternate each week, and then right in week 5, it's going to come up fast is that first exam where both groups are on campus. Then we'll have a few more weeks alternating back and forth, and then back on campus for exam 2 in beginning of November. All right, go ahead and put those exams on your calendar so you know you're coming to class on those Wednesdays. In fact, I would just set reminders for all of the weeks that you're going to be on campus so that you know that you're going to be there. For the first couple of weeks, I will remind you. I'll send out an announcement on Tuesday saying, make sure you complete the pre-lab and that you come to class tomorrow. And hopefully we won't get too confused with that. All right. So if you have any questions, reach out to me on Blackboard or I'm sorry, on Discord or on email. And I'm excited to meet you in person either this Wednesday or the next. Bye.